now you should be seeing my demo store or my demo portal, if you will. And obviously this is branded for Outdora. It's a made-up company. Outdora is we'll call them a manufacturer or wholesaler of plants, bikes, gardening, living furniture, as you see some of the different product categories here. I'm going to bounce back and forth a little bit between the front-end customer-facing web store and the Sana admin panel. But again, we're going to have a heavy focus on spare parts and service. So for starters, to familiarize you with the site, as I scroll down, you can see that I've got some product categories that start to splash across the screen. Now, you may be thinking this is a little bit more B2C focused, right? Because B2C customers are going to have a tendency to come out to the site, hunt and peck, right? They're going to hit the search bar at the top. They're going to hit the different categories down here at the bottom. There's a little bit of work that they're going to have to do, especially if they're new to the site, new to the product for the first time. B2B customers are going to buy quite a bit differently, and we'll focus a lot of the conversation around that today. But as I scroll down a little bit further, you can see I've got some other what we call flexi tiles that lead me to different informational or content pages. If you sell through distributors or you have brick and mortar stores, right? Maybe we want to have something like a store locator or a distributor locator. This can also very much act as a dealer portal as well. And then of course, at the bottom down in the sitemap and newsletter subscription. Now, I'm looking at the site publicly here, but I'm going to go ahead and first we're going to click on, we'll look at a particular product category and we'll just pull up these lawnmowers as an example. Now, as I'm looking at the site publicly, the first thing that you'll notice is that I'm looking at commercial list price, and I'm also looking at US dollars, and I can see that there is availability of the product, but I can't see exact availability. So I want to point out that you can have the site behave quite a bit differently depending on whether somebody's logged in, whether they're looking at it publicly, or who they're logged in as. So hyper-personalization is one of the most important things that we can keep in mind as we launch online sales experiences, and I'll explain why, because there's a couple of different reasons. So first off, if I own a particular product, right, as Ashish mentioned earlier, I want to be able to go to the My Account section after I've logged in, and I want to be able to take a look at the products that I own and be able to very easily find the spare parts, create a service ticket, right, look at the warranty of the product. So I need to have that information here at my fingertips. Now, hyper-personalization is not just about hyper-personalization, it's about creating efficiencies. I also don't want my customers to have to come out to the site and have to hunt and peck through 20,000 different SKUs if they only own one product or if they only buy from a particular amount of my catalog, right? So you will notice that as I start logging in as different users, I start to bring out some of these very customer specific and hyper personalized scenarios. So as an example, now that I've logged in as Frank, you can see that I'm not showing commercial list price. We're actually showing the real-time pricing that is in the logic, for discounts that are set up back over in SAP or Microsoft. So I'm seeing customer specific pricing. The system's smart enough to know that I buy in euro. And now that I'm logged in, I can actually see exact availability, right? Now back to Ashish's point earlier, maybe you have multiple warehouses, in which case we can break out the inventory by warehouse. With COVID, we're seeing a lot more of buy online, pick up in store, or pick up at the manufacturing facility. So, there's quite a bit of flexibility here to be able to display real-time levels of availability directly from the ERP system across multiple different warehouses, or even show possibly what's in transit. Now, as I log out as Frank and I log in as Stefan, we're going to see some pretty major changes to the site as well. And when I log in as Stefan, you will notice that it's flipped back over to US dollars. Stefan doesn't have any discounts that are set up back in the ERP, but more importantly, a bunch of the different headers went away. So I used to have plants, living furniture, outdoor gardening, right? Where now I just have bikes. When I come back out to the main site, I've got a completely different full page image banner. I used to have a family that was gathered around outdoor living furniture. Well, now that I'm logged into Stefan, I've got this gentleman on a bicycle. And as I scroll down, I don't have 20 categories to search across, I have 2, right? So we're driving very hyper-personalized experiences for those customers so that they can very easily order from the parts of the catalog that we know they're interested in ordering from, as well as be able to dive in from that My Account section and be able to see the equipment that they own and very easily find the parts that they're looking for. Now, when it comes to spare parts, there's a couple of things that we know are very common in the spare parts industry, right? And one of them that serves a challenge to a lot of customers is that spare part numbers change. So if I am looking for a product where a spare part number has changed, it's very important that we be able to cross-reference behind the scenes the old part number to the new part number, so that when a customer comes into the site and they try to search a part number, right, that they actually find the individual part that they're looking for, regardless of whether it's the old number or the new. So certainly something to keep in mind, and I have to say that's one of the biggest reasons that we see failed implementations. If I can't find the part that I'm looking for, I'm going to go to another site and I'm going to go find it there where it's easier to use. So the other thing that we want to keep in mind when standing up a web store where spare parts, are a big driving force behind it. And back to Ashish's use case earlier, if I'm a technician or if I'm a customer, whether I'm a B2B customer or I'm a B2C customer that bought a Roomba, right? I want to be able to, I don't want to have to deal with diving into a paper manual or a paper specification document or CAD drawing that I have with me on site at the customer while I'm opening up the machine. They have a tendency to require a magnifying glass in order to see the SKU numbers. I want to be able to have a nice visual representation of what it is that I'm looking at, what it is that I own, so that I can easily identify the spare part number. So I'm going to take you out to one of my customers' sites. They are named Duotone. And as you can see here, Duotone specializes in kite boards, foil wings, for outdoor oceanic adventure. And from here, I can very quickly click on kite spares, which will show me all of the different products that are available. Or again, we could hyper personalize it just to show the product that the customer owns. Customer comes out to the site, they find the product that they own, they click view spare parts, and we have this notion of what we call a spare parts exploder, right? So I don't need to know the SKU. I don't need to pick up the phone and call a customer service representative and say, hey, my kite board's broken. I don't know the exact part, but I can tell you what it looks like, or I could take a picture with it, my mobile device, and send it to you, right? I, as the customer, whether, again, this is a kite board or a lawnmower or a baking machine, that's sold to restaurants that needs to be serviced, for, cooking pizzas. I can very quickly come out to the site and visually identify the part that I know that's broken or needs to be replaced or that needs to be replenished, as far as the trunk stock that Ashish was talking about earlier. And I click on it, and it takes me right to it in the shopping cart, and then I can add it to the cart or buy. Now, I'm not logged into their site here, so I don't have the ability to do that because this is a closed portal, but hopefully you get the idea. And if I come over back here into my demo environment, right, if I'm selling lawnmowers, maybe I want to have a CAD. Maybe I want to have a spare parts exploder that actually kind of breaks apart the product, and the equipment, so that I've got this spare parts exploder and I can very quickly identify the spare part where it takes me to the item in a list view there. One of the things that we're starting to see is the notion of 3D modeling, where we actually have movie-like images. And this is also becoming a bit more common for more complex use cases where I actually have a bomb within a bomb. right? So as an example, if this engine on this lawnmower was its own bill of materials, but then when I click on it, right, it opens up an existing mini bill of materials within that bill of materials. We're starting to see quite a lot with 3D modeling and 3D imagery and artificial images. Something to keep in mind that we could certainly incorporate into your customer's experience as well. Now, it's all good and great to be able to have a spare parts exploder, but a lot of you probably are also thinking that this requires a lot of customization and a lot of work. I want to show you how easy it is to create a spare parts exploder using a technology like Sana. So if I wanted to create a spare parts exploder, and I'm going to use an image from a prospect that I was working with just a couple of weeks ago. They are a manufacturer of baking equipment. We're talking about very large, heavy equipment that goes into restaurants, and places that are baking either pizza or other types of baking solutions. And if I come into the Sana admin panel and I go to web pages, I can either go to product pages, or I could create a new content page from scratch as an example, and create this spare parts exploder from here. So I'm going to call this a dough chunker. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to start to build out that spare parts exploder. So I'm just going to grab a content element that we've created called Lookbook, as Ashish referred to earlier. And Lookbook can work in a couple of different ways. So we could create a Lookbook experience as an example where if I'm selling outdoor furniture, we can have hotspot icons that actually pop up in a what we call a pop-up view. Sorry for lack of having a hard time finding my words there. So we can have it show up in a pop-up view. So as you can see here, if we were selling these cushions and this little outdoor coffee table and this dining table, as well as these chairs, right? We could actually, kind of have this arrangement of furniture where then when I click on an item, it pops up more information about it so that I can also learn about it and add it to the cart. Alternatively, for spare parts companies that want to have it more like a list view, like we saw here with an exploder view, whether we're looking at either the kiteboard or the lawnmower motor, I'm going to go ahead and create it in that regard. So from here, I'm going to replace the image that I have with the actual dough chunker and that piece of equipment from that bakery manufacturer. So I'm just going to scroll down and grab the image that I want to use. And again, this could be a simple PNG file, JPEG, CAD, or even 3D modeling image. I'm just going to go ahead and grab this JPEG. And now I'm going to start to build out the spare parts that I want to explode, right? And those hotspot icons. So first I have a flange, right? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab the product from the bill of materials or the product set for that particular flange. And then I've also got this electrical component here where the machine is actually operated from. That's a spare part. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab that particular part from the bill of materials. And then of course I've got these wheels, similar to the Roomba experience, that Ashish was talking about earlier. I create a hotspot for that. And then I go ahead and I save my changes, right? There are some other more advanced, sets of variables that I can give this particular lookbook or that spare parts exploder. But once I've built that out, now I've got that experience, again, whether it's, looking like the kiteboard here or the lawnmower that we're looking at here in my demo environment. So this gives your customers and or your technicians that are out in the field the ability, when they're on site, opening up the machine to be very easily able to open up the spare parts exploder from their mobile device, their tablet, or their laptop, and be able to identify the item that they're looking for, add it into the cart, and then order it and be able to, have that visibility and transparency into where the item is from a shipping standpoint, and getting it out to them as quick as possible. Now, a couple of other things that your customers, might want to be able to do, especially over on the B2B side, you'll notice that I have the ability to save a cart as a template. And I also have a quick product lookup. So if I know the SKU number, I could just go ahead and I could start typing in the partial SKU, and I can easily find the product from there, adjust the quantity, possibly the units of measure, depending on how it's being sold or purchased, and add that to the cart. Once I've put the 5, 10, 15 different items into my cart that I may need to replenish from a trunk stock standpoint, I could go ahead and I could save that as a template. So we could call this, my monthly trunk stock order. And I may end up having 5, 10, 15 different templates that I build over a period of time. Well, next time I come back to the site, all I need to do is load the template, and I can identify whether it's the right one that I want to use or not by the contents of that template, add it to the cart, and it will update it in the cart with customer specific pricing, real-time pricing, and it gives them a nice starting point so that they can just delete an item, add an item, uptick quantities, downtick quantities as necessary. The other thing that we see a lot of companies do, if you've got a very large order that needs to be placed for your trunk stock, or for your warehouse, that requires a lot of different line items, we also see a lot of companies that are starting to do what we call upload bulk order or shopping cart upload capabilities. So as an example, I could come in here and I could build a shopping cart upload page. And I would just basically create a flat file, a spreadsheet, or a CSV that has a handful of columns. So if I've got customers that are buying 50, 70, 80 different line items, I go ahead and I upload that spreadsheet to here that's going to have a SKU number column and a quantity column, maybe a unit of measure column or a warehouse ID column. And then the customer then comes out to the site, they click on the upload bulk order page, they can download that sample CSV, they can fill out the quantity or the 2 or 3 columns that are necessary for the items that they want to order, and they just drag and drop it to right here. It builds the cart out for them again with their customer specific pricing, and it does it right there in real time. So again, things to be thinking about as you start to think about standing up an online sales presence. It's all about efficiency, right? How do I give my customers, again, whether it's the individual customer, the technician, or the salesperson that maybe is ordering on behalf of the customer, the ability to get in and out of the web store or the catalog very quickly, so that they can move on and do their job and rest assured knowing that the product is being shipped and going to be on the way, again, with those Amazon-like expectations that everybody has these days. Now, from the My Account section, once I've placed an order, I have the ability to be able to look up my order history, my quote history, if I'm doing quotes, my invoice history. I can actually come in here and view the details of an invoice and actually get to the copy of the invoice itself directly from the ERP system without ever having to pick up the phone and call somebody back office at the company. You'll notice I also have the ability to come in here and reorder, right? So if I do have that stock replenishment for my trunk, I can come in here and I can also just reorder it very quickly, and I can even pay invoices online, right? Or they can be set up to be invoiced back office with 30-day net terms. So a lot of flexibility that we can offer the customers from a shipping standpoint, from a payment standpoint. At the end of the day, it's all about self-service. We want to give the customer the ability to do this stuff on their own, do it from the device, right? Anywhere that they are. And I think you'll also find by giving your customers the ability to self-service like this, you're going to be creating a lot of back office efficiencies, right? As an example, if I am a customer like Ashish talked about earlier, and I've opened up a machine and I've got a spare part and I install it and it's dead on arrival, right? It's not working, it's not the right part, it's broken. I want the ability to be able to very quickly create a return or an RMA. And so from here, I can come in and I can look up my previous invoices. I can create a return order from there. I can select the item at the line item level that I want to return, the quantity of that line item that I want to return. I can leave some comments, and then I also have the ability to drag and drop a picture of the broken device, right? All of the information that I know that the manufacturer is going to need in order to approve the return. I can very easily add in here and complete my return request. And obviously, if your customers have the ability to do this, right, this is going to create a lot of back office efficiencies. People aren't going to have to be picking up the phone, pulling up invoices, digging into filing cabinets, emailing them out, creating the returns manually in the ERP system. So this will allow your organization to scale internally without having to necessarily throw more bodies, at the problems as you all continue to grow. And then, of course, I have the ability to take a look at my shipments. I can view the details of those shipments, and then if we've got a tracking URL that's provided either via a direct API integration to a shipping provider or a URL that's being housed back in the order in the ERP system, that'll be exposed out here to the customer too, so they can click on it and they can actually see, where in the process, in the shipping process, their order is. So, quite a bit of functionality here and self-service capabilities that we can, offer those customers. So hopefully this has been, beneficial as far as being able to show you how we can solve some of the challenges that are common in the service industry. But at the end of the day, it's all about being able to create that great user experience and that efficient user experience, and help your customers be able to very easily order from you, pay for that particular order, and get it shipped out as soon as possible. With that,